Hello, everyone. Greg Harrelson here with Century 21, the Harrelson Group, with my co-host Abe Safa, also with Century 21, the Harrelson Group. Here to talk a little bit more about the real estate market in the Myrtle Beach area, the greater Horry County. And Abe, thank you again for being here and sharing the screen for another episode.
Yeah, enjoy this, Greg. This is a great opportunity always to look up some numbers and share them with the public out there. I know
Yeah.
we're getting some great responses from people out there on this.
Yes, yeah, and I want to apologize up front. I know my lighting's not good. I got some glare in the back. I'm actually in Utah, and I'm at a Century 21 corporate owners event, and we didn't want to skip the this week and not do the video, so I'm kind of doing it from a little area tucked away in some little conference room. But the title that we put on here was a little interesting, huh? Myrtle Beach property owners are getting richer. So let's just dive right into that. So what are we talking about here?
Yes, I mean everybody out there knows at this point. Everybody knows that home prices have been going up. So every single person knows that the real estate market is on fire. But how high have they gone up, or how much wealth have homeowners accumulated over the last I'd say 6 months, 7 months? That's what people don't know. So you just saw an interesting stat the other day. I'm going to pull this up. You want to go ahead and explain this right here?
Yeah.
So mind-boggling. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So this is what kind of triggered this conversation. This is a CNBC. They're talking about increases in prices, but they're sharing information based on the impact that prices have had on people's equity in their homes. And what this shows is that in the first quarter of this year, 2021, equity compared to what it was 1 year ago from now, there's been on average in America a 20% increase in the equity that people have in their homes. Now, this is referring to people that have mortgages, but it would be the same if you didn't have the mortgage. That your property on average in America has increased 20%. Now, equity and wealth are practically the same thing. It's the equity, it's the wealth that you have sitting in your home, and that equates to nearly $2 trillion worth of equity that has been generated Q1 2021 versus Q1 2020. That we've never seen numbers like this.
That's insane.
Yeah, and this is not like this is a real market where we're talking about people's homes, not investment properties. And there may be some investment properties in the mix, but that's not what our market is about right now. Not like 2006 and 5 when it was people buying all these condos, and that's what was driving up the market. It was all these flippers and whatnot. People that never intended on living in these properties. These are real buyers that are, for the most part, are buying primary residences as well as second homes. So that's an extraordinary number.
Yeah, that's a mind-blowing number, Greg. And I think what you just said is really important to note. The buyers right now are people that are buying primary residence or vacation homes. There's not a whole lot of speculating out there like when we saw back in 2004 and 5, where people buying multiple properties thinking that they can flip them in a month or two. I'm seeing very, very little of that in our market right now. I'm not sure if you're seeing anybody. You have a good list of investors that you work with as well. But it's a different type of market right now. It is extremely hot, but I think it's a little bit healthier than what it was back during the real estate bubble of 04 and 5 because of the type of buyer that's out there.
Yeah, the buyers, the investor buyers that I'm talking to and working with now, they're really not buying many flips. I mean, if they can find one, they'll buy it. It's extremely hard to find one because most sellers, even sellers that are have some sort of urgency to sell, the market is so good that they're able to sell and get a good price. They don't really have to use liquidation as a strategy to move a property fast. We can move a property fast at a higher price. So that's kind of, keeping down some of the flipping that's going on. The investors that I am working with, though, they'll buy a marginal deal, meaning, the numbers are kind of marginal. They're not too great, but they're still looking at purchasing because, the tax laws are still, very favorable for investors right now. So there's some bonus depreciation, cost segregation, different methods of driving down their tax rates through investing in real estate. So we do see people using those strategies. By the way, if anyone ever wants to talk about that, just reach out to Abe and I, and we can share a little bit more about that. Maybe we do a segment about that someday in the future. But other than that, no, it's not flippers.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of gambling out there. So $2 trillion is a whole lot of money nationally. Now, if we break it down locally, I don't know what the number is in dollar amounts, but I can tell you percentage wise. So when we look at the numbers at the end of May relative to last year, the average single family home sales price was up 26.2% year over year.
Wow.
So end of May, your home was worth 26% more on average than it was last year, which is amazing in a 1 year difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're outpacing the national average then.
Yeah.
So the national average is 20%. I think, going back to conversations that we've had, months ago about forbearance, because if you go back and listen to this in the middle of COVID, we talked about forbearance and shared that there could be an issue with all these people missing their payments. This information right here is very consistent with probably why we're seeing that the number of people that are in forbearance are no longer in forbearance. And they're not necessarily having to go from forbearance to foreclosure. So if
Greg, I lost you there for a second.
Go ahead. I was buffering there.
Buffer. Yeah, you're back now. Greg's stuck in internet land.
Why don't you? But why don't you go ahead and
yes, I mean, you're talking about forbearance, right? So I mean, this is crucial because for the longest time we were concerned about, and I still get calls daily. Hey, one of the short sales coming. Keep me on your list. I want some deals as soon as they come. Because so many people were concerned that the forbearance was going to lead to short sales and lead to foreclosures, but it's just not happening yet. I know the government keeps pushing kicking the can down the road and allowing forbearance to go longer and longer. But we're seeing appreciation like this. We're seeing record low inventories. Even if someone cannot make the payments, even if they have to give up their home, okay, even if the bank does take it over, with inventory being so low and prices being so high, we're not going to see, I can't imagine seeing a flood of foreclosures that are just ridiculously low prices. It's just that I think the inventory is so low right now that the market is just going to absorb that inventory, and the banks are going to be able to set them at such a high level if the seller can't get out of it at a high price, which in most cases they will. Most sellers right now are going to have a pretty decent amount of equity where they can at least walk away clean. But again, even if they can't, the bank can take it over, and still they're not going to be holding so many on their books that they have to start unloading these at ridiculous prices. So I don't see the bargain basement home prices coming, even if a lot of these forbearance homes hit the foreclosure market.
Yeah, people are constantly asking about foreclosures, and like you said, people are calling us, and my answer is, look, I don't see foreclosures anywhere in my horizon. Every market goes down, every market goes up, and in between, every market typically lies flat. Now, that's a guarantee. What we don't know is, when do these cycles start? When do they stop? We just don't know. Right now, whenever we see there's a clear path to more inventory, that's when we probably see things kind of cooling off. But cooling off is not necessarily falling off, right? Right now, we don't see a clear path, but I do know I have friends in Charlotte. I have friends in other cities, around the country that are telling me that there are a few additional properties on the market now. In other words, no, we're not going from like only 2 homes in a certain category to 50 homes, but we're going from 2 homes to maybe 5 homes. That still doesn't seem like a lot of inventory, but if you look at percentages, those are fairly decent movement. There's some movement there. So people are getting richer in Myrtle Beach when it comes to their real estate holdings, and that holds true around the country. That's just a fact right now.
No question. And I'm hearing more and more agents talking about their market, increasing inventory. But again, it's slight. Look, I mean, it's one of two things. Inventory is going to be a function of supply and demand, right? So either demand has to go down, which right now it doesn't seem to be going down, at least not in our market. The demand is still really strong, or the supply goes up. And there's not many people leaving this area. More people are moving here than they're leaving here. So I don't see a big relief in inventory, at least in the next 30, 60 days.
Yeah.
Once we get past the end of the summer, who knows what can start happening. But things are still hot right now. And if you're a homeowner, then you're looking really good right now.
Yeah. So let's, why don't you pull up your charts and let's see what you have for us.
Yeah, so I'm going to do the numbers a little bit differently this time, because I know I've got a lot of requests from people texting me, calling me, saying, "Hey, can you just break down the single family homes by price point?" Because obviously, the sweet spot in this market is a $200,000 to $300,000 range, right? That's really the bread and butter of this market. But with prices going up, $300,000 to $500,000 is becoming a pretty popular number right now as well. And then of course you got other numbers. So I've had requests to break down the single family homes only based on price point. And this is what I did, Greg. So you'll notice 5 different numbers here. So the first one is homes under $200,000. Right now there's a total of 603 on the market, 438 of those under contract. So that's a 72% absorption right there. So 72% of every single home under $200,000 is under contract right now in our entire Grand Strand. That includes all single family homes. That includes if it's a manufactured home or what do you call it? Raised beach, ranch, all styles, every single home that's on the market right now. So that's a significant number there. When we go to the sweet spot of 200 to 300,000, that number is 83%. So you'll see that, I mean, that's where most buyers are looking for right now, and there's hardly anything out there.
Yeah.
You'll see most of that stuff is under contract. And you'll see it's really evident if you're out there as an agent looking for a home for buyers. It's slim pickings. And then you'll see if we jump to the 300 to 500 range, that number goes to 77%. I was a little bit surprised in how strong that number is. But I think that is a function of home values going up across the country. So if people are relocating from up north, they're getting more money for their home. So they have a little bit more money to spend. So I think we can see our average, and we are seeing our average sales price here in this market go up. And very soon that 200 to 300 might not be the sweet spot anymore. That 300 to 500 might be the sweet spot. Then you get to $500,000, you'll see it kind of tapers off a little bit, but stronger than I anticipated. 65% of those homes are under contract. Then if you get over $1 million, only a third of those homes are under contract.
Yeah,
So
well, this is a great,
people. Yeah.
It's a great indication of like what products moving. All products are moving, and even the 1 million plus for 33.5. If you just remember, like if we went back 6 months ago and we were to watch these videos, the residential homes, just all residential homes, was in that 33% range. And we were saying, hey, this is actually an amazing number. Like in 83, 76, these other numbers, they're so extraordinary. It's hard to comprehend. I mean, Abe and I, we have to pull these numbers and look at these numbers and double check them to make sure that we're accurate, because these numbers are just so off the chart. So even 33% for the million plus is still a lot of movement. But you can kind of see, like you said, you could see that sweet spot, that the average price point in. Do you know what the average price point is right now? Is it around the 280 range?
It is. It's getting very close to 300 now.
Yeah. So that's making sense why those two numbers.
And by the way, that's the highest number we've ever had in this market. So that blows away, when you look at average, it blows away the 04, 05, 06 numbers.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, good. Well, that's great. Do you have any other numbers that you're going to share? Or is this the numbers for today?
No, this is it.
Yeah, this is, and it's plenty. I think it's good to digest that. It'd be interesting to see what the breakdowns are, in the condos, maybe in a future episode. So
maybe next week we'll do condos. I just didn't want to do the same numbers again because the market's kind of been stable. I don't want to put up the same numbers again. 78%. It's like it hasn't changed much when we look at the numbers, at least with the other charts that we were using. And it's just the market. I don't want to say it's softening, but I think it might be starting to stabilize.
Yeah. What is there anything in particular that you're seeing that that just gives you that feeling? I mean, because this is the important part of analyzing numbers, is when you analyze these numbers enough, and if you watch enough of these episodes, you're at the forefront of seeing the trend, right? And seeing what direction it's going in. When you look at it every week, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of movement. But when you look at it over a year, you see there's a 26% increase in equity. So that's an enormous movement when you look at it from the higher up and looking at an entire year or an entire quarter. But when you look at it on a weekly basis, you see very subtle movements. But those subtle movements dictate what that bigger number is going to be, either a bigger high or a bigger low. So anything in particular that you're just kind of keeping your eyes on? What are you paying attention to?
I'm paying attention on whether the pending rate, what I consider the pending rate, is going up or down. So for the longest time, week after week, we kept saying the numbers, and we're talking. I'm saying, Greg, wow, a new record number. It's gone up again. It's gone up again. And now for the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 weeks, it kind of leveled off.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're not getting deeper into more pendings relative to what's on the market, but it hasn't started to go down yet. Mm-hmm. So I do think the demand is still there. A function of that could be that we're just not getting enough homes to hit the market. Mm-hmm. And demand hasn't increased, so it's not getting deeper. So to me, that pending rate number is a good number to look at. Yeah, because it just tells us on out of all the homes that are on the market, how many are actually sold right now or under contract. Yeah. So I'm looking for that number. If that number starts to go down, then to me that's going to be an indicator of when at least we're starting to normalize. I don't want to say correct, but starting to normalize. And
a buyer's market is when there is more than 6 months of inventory.
Right.
A seller's market is when there's less than 6 months.
Right.
And I'm assuming, because I don't know if we look at the exact number, but we're probably 1 month of inventory on the market. Even when we see the market trending towards a little bit, indicating that maybe that's going to soften, it's still going to take a long time for inventory to collect and accumulate to the point where it shifts from a seller's market back to a buyer's market. And I mean, that'll be a lot of time, and there'll be probably a lot of things that would happen with interest rates to try to prevent it from going down. So, it's interesting times. It's been great times to be a property owner. So if any of you have additional questions, one of the things that we've been doing is we've been doing CMAs, market analysis for people, for their communities, for their homes, just so they can kind of get a more accurate indication of how much equity they have in their home now. I mean, as a market, we've increased about by 26%, but that's on average. So depending on what category of home you have or condo you have, it might vary. So if you want to reach out to us, here's our cell numbers at the bottom of the screen. And you could text us and say, hey, could you please email me and update as to what properties are selling for like mine. Give me a little bit more information, like how many bedrooms, what's the square foot, what community, or how many bedrooms in what building if it's a condo. If you just text us that information, text us your email, we will send you a report. And we're not going to try to sell you anything. We're just going to send that, just like we're given this information, we'll give that information. And just to be clear and transparent, our intentions, Abe and I, is to empower you with the information necessary for you to make great real estate decisions whenever you're faced with making a decision. And we just hope that at someday in the future, when because we're helping you, with information, that we can earn your business and that you'll reach out to us and let us help you if you need to conduct a transaction. So Abe, thank you always for the information that you bring. Any final thoughts for you?
Yeah, let me add one more thing, because that 26% appreciation over the last 12 months across the board is a strong number, but there are communities that have done even better. So yeah, I mean, depending on where you are, again, there's no commitments. If you're interested, just shoot us a text. Either one of us can do it, and let us know, hey, I have a home here. This is how many square feet it is. What do you think it's worth? Example, I just put a home in Belgrove Willows at 3.25. Multiple offers gone in like 2 days, right? 3.25 in Belgrove Willows. In Prospect, I just put a home under contract this past week, and it's going to be the highest sale per square foot that we've had maybe ever. I'd have to go back and check during the real estate bubble if it got up to that high. But little things like that, like certain communities right now, you can pretty much ask for any price that you want.
Yeah.
So 26% is a good number. Yours might be better. Anything that you need, please reach out to us.
Okay. Well, thank you again for bringing that information. And until next week, everybody, we'll see you. Have a great rest of the week.
All right, Greg. Take care.
Bye-bye.